Hi folks, and welcome back to Meaningful Money. Okay, sorry to be inside again, but it's tipping down raining outside, and I've got to get this video up tonight to leave a couple of days before episode 250, which is next up, so stay tuned for that. Now, I'm going to carry on talking about setting your finances up for a very positive future. And we talked quite a few videos ago about setting up a starter emergency fund. Since then, we've been paying off debt and things like that. So we're now going back to the emergency fund for a bit of a revisit. Before we do that, my friends down here in the bottom right, which are Seven Investment Management, they continue to sponsor me here on Meaningful Money, for which I'm extremely grateful. Now, you've set up your starter emergency fund, the first £1,000 you got in the bank. Since then, you've been paying down your credit cards, store cards, personal loans, everything except your mortgage. Well done. You are now debt-free. It's a fantastic achievement. If you've done it, then very, very well done. The next thing, though, is not to give yourself a pay rise and start spending more. You're keeping to your strict budget. And what you're doing now is all the money you've been paying off your debt, you are now going to be paying every month into your emergency fund and filling up that fund to a useful amount of money. So where should you keep this? Well, it needs to be instantly accessible, at the very most accessible on a 30 days notice, but ideally you can sort of have that money sent to your current account immediately. Instant access account. It can be a cash ISA, but doesn't need to be. Remember, this is not an investment. You're never going to get rich off your emergency fund. It's just somewhere to hold money in the short term should you need it, should something go wrong. Now, how much should it be? Well, it depends, but a good rule of thumb is between 3 and 6 months of your net salary, your take-home pay. 3 and 6 months worth. Now, which should it be, 3 or 6 months? Well, it depends on your situation. So, if you are working for a big, solid, secure company, perhaps you've been with them a long time, or maybe you're a public sector worker, might not be the best example right now, then you can probably err towards keeping 3 months' salary for your emergency fund. If you're self-employed, or if you're working for a small company, you might want to err towards keeping 6 months' salary as an emergency fund. Long and short of it is, keep however much it takes for you to be comfortable. Okay, now remember, this is an emergency fund, so you don't touch it to pay for Christmas, you don't touch it to go on holiday, right? You are setting up your finances for your future, so stick with it. Only touch that fund if it's a proper emergency. And remember two other things. If you're married or in a relationship, don't touch your emergency fund without first agreeing it with your spouse or partner, if you want to stay married or together. And the second thing is, don't touch it before sleeping on the decision. Very important, because sometimes things are not quite so bad the following day and you may not need to touch your emergency fund. If you do, dip into your emergency fund, then pay it back as soon as possible. Pay back the money, screw down your budget again. We're going to come into, in due course, what you do once your emergency fund is in place. But if you have to dip into it, then pay it back as soon as possible. Stop everything else, pay back your emergency fund, perhaps with a bit of interest, and top it back up again. Now, it might seem like you're getting nowhere. It might have taken you 5 years to get your debt paid off and a decent emergency fund in place. But it will be so worth it, because now you have a firm footing on which to build your financial future. So please stick with it. Stick with me. Thank you for sticking with me for 249 episodes. Next one is number 250, a bit of a celebration. Thank you for watching this one, and I'll see you next time for number 250.